Good evening, my friends. Chad doing with you here on the fifth quarter, where the Trailblazers lose by a final score of 142 to 82 tonight in Miami against the Heat. You know, looking back on this game, maybe the Trailblazers should have just went ahead and done that deal with the Heat and sent Damian Lillard to South Beach, and they could have avoided something like this. You don't need that. I don't need that. No one needs this. That was brutal. Absolutely brutal. Thankfully, there were other games going on to help fill time while this painful basketball game was playing out. I looked up and the game was over. It was that quick. It's like, wait, what happened here? Throw the damn towel. Oh, yikers. That was ugly. Absolutely awful. An unwatchable basketball game. The Blazers trailed by 10 at the end of the first quarter. And Chauncey Billups mentioned in the postgame, the first 4 or 5 minutes of the game, they were playing clean basketball and executing. Then all of a sudden, the Heat started to turn up the pressure, and they were up by 10 at the end of one. They opened up the second quarter on a 25-9 run, and the rest is history. They're up by 34 at the half. They outscored the Trailblazers by a ridiculous 74 to 48. 78-44 between the second and third quarters combined, and the game's over. And really, what do you expect when you take on a team like Miami and you've got a roster and a group of players on the floor that lack experience, you lack depth, you're going to have these type of moments occasionally. Absolutely just hideous basketball. And I'm getting a lot of messages like this. Hey, Chad, this season, if you buy 4 tickets to see the Florida Marlins, you get 4 cheeseburgers and all you can eat hot dogs, nachos, popcorn, and free soft drinks. That's how you sell tickets when a team is terrible. Yeah. All right, 142-82. It's one of those scores you see in the, when you're scrolling through like ESPN or one of your apps, you're like, wait, what? You have to look at a score like 3 or 4 times to make sure that your eyes are not deceiving you. And then it's really hard to do math with those type of numbers. It's like, wait a second, 142. And the Blazers scored 82. I'll be darned. That's 60 points. So if you need a refresher in Trailblazers history, they lost the game earlier this year, back in January, to Oklahoma City by a final score of 139-77. That was 62 points. Tonight was 60, and the all-time mark was set back in February of 98 at Indiana, 124-59. 65 is still the all-time mark. 62 is second. That was the game earlier this year in Oklahoma City. And tonight's 60. So tonight's game, the 60 spot, is third on the all-time list. Last year, a 56-point loss to the Golden State Warriors. That was the final game of the regular season. And then there are other games that are on the list. Last year, April of 2022, a 128-78 loss to the Mavericks. All right, enough is enough. You know the deal. Earlier this year, they lost 134-91 to the Thunder and a 124-81 loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves. That's the type of year it's been. All right, we'll keep things rolling here on the fifth quarter. If you want to chime in, I wouldn't recommend it. 142-82 is the final. Thankfully, it's one game. You move on and get ready for a game coming up on Monday in Orlando against the Magic. Chad doing here on a beautiful Friday evening in late March in the City of Roses.
139-80. Well, Michael, you said don't allow another 74 points in the second half, and you're not that far off.
Well, the Blazers scored 40 in the first half, and they're sitting on 40 here in the second half.
Yep. Badji with a 15-foot jumper. It's good. No team has ever lost multiple games in the same season by 60 points. The Blazers trail by 57 with 30 seconds left.
Those teams would dribble it out here.
All right, we start in the NBA right now. In San Antonio, the Spurs lead the Knicks 128-126 with 12 seconds left in overtime. Third quarter in Denver, Timberwolves lead the Nuggets 85-64. Halftime in Utah, Jazz in front of the Rockets 47-41. Kings lead the Mavericks 36-26 in Sacramento with 9:27 left in the first half. Earlier finals, Warriors over the Hornets 115-97 in Charlotte. Wiggins with 20 points, 8 boards, 8 assists. In Indiana, the Pacers over the Lakers 109-90. Siakam, 22 points, 11 boards, 6 assists. Clippers top the Magic in Orlando 100-97. Portland will play the Magic Monday in Orlando, tip-off at 4 o'clock. Pistons top the Wizards in D.C. 96-87. Nets 125. Bulls 108 in Brooklyn. Cleveland 117. Philadelphia 114. And the Thunder hammer the Suns tonight 128-103 down in OKC. Checking the Sweet 16 scoreboard in the NCAA tournament, 2 more teams have punched their ticket to the Elite Eight. NC State, their magical run continues. The 11 seed in the South region tops the 2 seed Marquette 67-58. The 1 seed Purdue takes out Gonzaga in the Midwest 80-68. And 2 games are in action right now. First half, the 1 seed Houston taking on the 4 seed Duke. They're tied at 20. That's the South region. That game being played in Dallas. And first half in the Midwest, the 2 seed Tennessee leads the 3 seed Creighton 24-23. Also, good news for the Oregon State women's basketball team as they defeated Notre Dame today 70-65. They will advance and take on South Carolina on Sunday. Still waiting for the official tip time, but that game will be live here on 620 Rip City Radio. We have heard rumors it could be around a 10:30 start. That game, South Carolina, Oregon State. For the rights to go to the Final Four will be Sunday morning here on 620 Rip City Radio. The Blazers fall tonight to Miami, 142-82. And as Travis mentioned, no team until now has lost more than 1 game by 60 points, but the Trailblazers have done it. Earlier lost to Oklahoma City by 62. And tonight by 60. Let's go out to David in Salem. David, appreciate the phone call. You're up on the 5th quarter. Fire away.
Hey, Chad, it's good to be with you again.
Thank you.
I want to look beyond this game. I'm looking forward to the draft, and I'm just hoping the Blazers can draft some big men because I see that as a major problem for them. I mean, the Miami Heat just, their centers really ruled the day when you look at it. Each of them had 12 rebounds. I look at how they handled the Blazers. And, with this, I looked at Tankathon as we were preparing for, the 5th quarter. And I see there's a guy by the name of Donovan Clegan and Kyle Filipowski, both centers. I think Filipowski could play both forward and center. And then Zach Edey. And the Blazers have the 5th, the 13th, and the 34th pick. And they need big men that are tough and that can play and are defensively able. And Donovan Clegan is a sophomore, and Kyle Filipowski is a sophomore, and Zach Edey's a senior. They're adults. They played top-level basketball. They're not coming in as unproven rookies, really. They've played in some of the toughest leagues in the, basketball leagues in college, and stood up as leaders. And the Blazers have the draft positions, if they can get them, to get those size of players in there to stand up in the Western Conference against people like Minnesota, the Denver Nuggets, the Los Angeles Lakers, who have size and have players that are dominant. They have no dominant big men, and I love DeAndre Ayton. I think he's a great player, but I don't think he's a banger compared to the young people I mentioned that are potential draft picks. That's what I had for you, Chad.
Well, I appreciate it. I'm looking forward to the draft as well, David, and I'm hoping they jump up to number 1 and can get Alexander Sarr. So, yes, they're going to go after size. They need a forward, and if they can get their hands on a guy like Sarr, that would be great. Athleticism, size, and the good thing is about this summer, they have 4 draft picks to work with. They'll have their own, the Warriors, and 2 second-round picks. They'll have some ammunition to be able to go out there and continue to reshape the roster. And the loss tonight, it sucks when you see your team lose by 60. But again, look at the roster they had out there on the floor. And the guys that they've had playing of late, you're going to have a hard time having success. Chris Murray, Jabari Walker, DeAndre Ayton, Ryan Rupert, and Scoot Henderson. So 4 rookies surrounded by DeAndre Ayton. Of course, Tamani Kamara was out tonight. The other guys who got minutes off the bench, Dwap Reef, Justin Minaya, Matisse Thybulle, who played 7 minutes, and Delano Banton. That's just not good enough to get the job done. And, of course, there's a great talent disparity. The loss by 60 doesn't matter. What matters is continuing to develop the players, continue to coach and teach so that these guys can make a big step or a big leap as they head into the offseason, get ready for next year, and then gear up and focus in on the offseason. The draft, they've got some assets that they can trade if need be. They've got 4 picks, and they'll have a chance to go out there and retool. And that's what it's all about. This is what a rebuild looks like. It's messy. It's ugly. It's not something you enjoy, but it's necessary to get to where they need to be. Let's go out to Victor in Turkey. Victor, welcome back to the 5th quarter. What's on your mind?
Hi, brother. Thanks for your time. I'm so disappointed of watching the games. I mean, as you mentioned, it was ugly, but I tell you something. When I play a sport, it's a good thing. It's a good thing that I play a sport. I know how the feeling is. When a team loses, by 50, 60, 70 points, in soccer where you can lose, say, by 10 points, maximum. I think maximum is 5 to 10 points, comparably. So what I'm saying is, I lost our team. When I was playing teams, we lost, not by that many, but we lost games. And I tell you, when the players, they lose by that many, it's going to sink into their blood or their spirit or their brain, whatever you want to call it. And you see it in that game. In that game, the Blazers weren't interested. They weren't, running for the ball. They weren't going challenging the, loose balls. They just weren't interested. Why they did that? They were playing good games, a couple of, few games before against, maybe Atlanta or other teams, they were playing better. But the reason is when they lose by that many, losing after game, it's going to sink in the brain. If you play for any team yourself, but even as a hockey, as a golf player, and somebody come and beat you like, a difference for 100 points in a golf game, you never forget that. I mean, the nature of the human being, I'm an experienced guy, the nature of human being is usually you remember the bad stuff than the good stuff. That's the nature of the human beings, and it's going to sink into you. So what I'm saying is, I don't have any hopes in this team. Maybe you have a hope that they're going to retool next year, but I think next year, with this squad they have, except Andrew Ayton and maybe and Simon. I don't know if they want to trade those guys, but with other players, and next year they're gonna end up in number 13 or 12 if they can make a play-in. But it's gonna be a long waiting list for the Blazer fans. But the Joe Cronin have a really hard time, finding the players that he wants to draft, that they can put up, against these higher teams. So myself, I don't have any. I can call you next year. I mean, about this, but I don't think the Blazers next year, if they don't make a major move, they're gonna, because the other teams are improving too. It's not like they're sitting, and they're just watching. So next year they're gonna maybe end up instead of 15, they're gonna end up in 11 or 12. That's my expectation. But I don't know what you say about that mentality of the players when they lose that many games. You think it's gonna forget about that?
I do. Yeah, I don't think this loss tonight will have an impact on them whatsoever. They just move on and get ready for the next game. The roster will be different when they start next year, so you have different guys in. But the reality is, I'm not saying the Trailblazers would be a contender, but if they had all of their players healthy throughout the year, Simons, Jeremy Grant, DeAndre Ayton, Scoot Henderson, Malcolm Brogdon, Robert Williams, if they had all their players and were healthy, this is a team that would win more games than what we see right now. That's just reality. And when they have a bunch of rookies, before tonight they had, 3 straight games with 5 rookies starting. That's only the second time that had happened in NBA history. The Blazers are 19-55. If they were healthy throughout the year, they would not be a 19-win team. But again, they already have. Cronin has found 2 players, Shaden Sharp and Scoot Henderson, that they wanted. Those are 2 high-level draft picks, both selected inside the top 10, one inside the top 5. They have 2 more picks in the first round this year, and they've got some veteran pieces that they can utilize to deal and continue to consolidate the roster with, the type of guys that they want. Let's go. Okay, let's do this. 503-248-0620. We'll come back and we'll jump into What's the Scoot and give you an update on Scoot's play, and then we'll go back to the phone. So if you're on hold, stay there. And we'll hear from Chauncey Billups, who had very little to say after the game tonight. Next game coming up Monday in Orlando against the Magic. That game will tip off at 4, game day at 1:30 here on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio. Well, after a 60-point loss, Wham always has a way of making people smile, so I appreciate that, Michael Shacker. Fifth quarter, Chad doing. Your final score from Miami tonight, 142-82. The Heat get the win over the Trailblazers. Scoot Henderson, another mixed bag in terms of efforts. 41 minutes tonight. He finished with 20 points. He also had 6 rebounds and 6 assists. 8 of 18 from the floor. He was 1 of 5 from downtown. But the big issue, 7 turnovers for Scoot. So turnovers continuing to be an issue. And you can see it. There's moments where, he attacks and plays fast. And then there's moments where he gets himself into trouble, either with defensive pressure or uncertainty about when to leave his feet in the painted area. And sometimes he'll leave his feet, then try to force a pass. And that results in a turnover. And he continues to lack touch in or around the rim. So it's just going to require more time for Scoot to continue to work. And the good thing is he's healthy and is able to play 41 minutes tonight. Now he's got 8 more games to go, and he's got to continue to play big minutes and get some burn. And, Ant's been on the shelf with that knee injury. I was talking with someone the other night. It would make sense if they just don't bring Ant back so they can continue to get Scoot big run on the floor and put him in situations where he has to face a variety of different pressures to get that experience and continue to work on all the detailed areas of his game that need improvement. So that's where we're at with Scoot. A decent night, 20 points, 6 boards, 6 assists, 7 turnovers, but he's got a lot of work. And as I mentioned in the pregame, this is by far, this offseason is critical for him and his future. He's got to make a big leap from year 1 to year 2. Let's go out to John in Salem. John, appreciate the phone call. You're up on the fifth quarter. What's on your mind?
Man, somebody's got to talk to Chauncey and tell him when something's not working, it's okay to change it. Stop your offensive sets when they are not working. Maybe try posting up your 7'2", number 1 overall draft pick.
Well,
try something different.
That's true. But here's my question. When you have 5 rookies or 4 rookies in your starting lineup, exactly what are you able to do as a coach with guys who are still learning the offense and don't know the sets? I mean, that's the tough part because he has very little ammunition to work with the guys he's got on the floor.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, they need to learn, but you can't keep running a 3-guard, set, 3-guard motion set on the outside when you got a big man like post up Jabari for crying out loud. Try something different. You're getting your ass beat. Do something different. Have some pride. I mean, somebody's going to be on that bench going, hey, Chauncey, this isn't working. We're getting killed. I mean, you can't just keep coming down and running the same thing over and over again. And I agree with Scoop, man. Just outlet the ball to him and tell him, hey, bud, when you step on the court, you are the fastest human being on the basketball court. Do not hesitate. Catch that outlet pass and go. Push the ball in transition. If it's not there, set up an offense. And it can't be, Ryan Ruopp throwing up a 35-footer.
Yeah, it's tough, man. It's brutal. It's hard to watch. I just don't know exactly what you can do at this stage when you have the 3 previous games, 5 rookies in the starting lineup. And tonight, Ayton was in the starting lineup with 4 rookies around him. Well, Jabari's not a rookie. Second-year player in Jabari Walker. These guys are still learning. You can call out your plays and try to run your sets, but there's limitations to what you can do with the youth. And you're playing a team that's the most well-coached in the NBA. And I'm not making excuses. I'm just like, you want Chauncey to do something different. I just don't know what options are there for him with the lineup he's got on the floor and the overall talent disparity. And it's hard for DeAndre Ayton, who has, played well. And he finished tonight 18 points, 8 rebounds. A good effort for Ayton. But he's limited with certain players on the floor, too, because he's out there with guys who are trying to learn. Let's go back out to the phones. Let's go to Ralph, the landscaper in East Amity. Ralph, welcome to the fifth quarter, my friend.
Hey, Chan, how you been? I haven't talked to you in seems like 3 weeks or so. Where have you? I know you've been doing the old Allen job over there at the Blazers a little bit. I hear you on that one. And then, did you take a vacation or something?
No vacation. It's been all work and no play right now, and it's going to be like that for the next couple of weeks until the Trailblazers season comes to an end. I've just been working, man, grinding, Ralphie, grinding.
Well, that's good. I mean, I know how that goes. It's I more so my crew knows how that goes, but I mean, I keep a good focus all year long, and the crew, they have a few months off all the time. But so I wanted to mention, when you're gone, don't ever have that Peter ratings eater guy come on their radio again, okay?
Oh, you're talking about Peter Sampson. What happened with Peter? Why don't you like him?
Well, I called in, and I'd never talked to the guy before, and I was kind of introducing myself. I said I have a landscaping business and a towing company in Southern California, and he just hung up on me and said, "Oh, I don't need to know that you've got a lot of money and are successful." And I think it just kind of like made him feel bad about his own life, that he's likely just a failure. And I come along, and I was just introducing myself. When you talk to men, you introduce yourself. You say, "Hey, what are the first questions, Chan? Hey, so what do you do?" Right?
Yes.
That's kind of how the men relate to each other. But Mr. Peter ratings eater, he just hung up on me. And then you know what? The one that didn't bother me, because I've had greater men and greater women hang up on me. When I was first starting this business, I hear it all the time. So that didn't bother me. What really bothered me is then when Victor from Turkey calls, and he was really short with Victor from Turkey. He gave him about 15 seconds, 20 seconds, and played Mr. Big Shot. I'm the radio host guy, and I'm just going to press the button and get rid of you too. And that made me mad, because this guy kind of lives his life for the Blazers and Ant Simons, and he's just a good guy. Everybody likes him, and he has fans and people that listen to the station that like him. And then Peter ratings eater, the old soggy, old crusty, dried up, moldy piece of toast, just hung up on him. So that didn't go well. That in my heart, Chan. You know what I mean?
No, I understand that. I think what it is, I pondered this before, Ralphie. Like, I appreciate you and I understand your greatness, but I think what it is, you're like you're an acquired taste, Ralphie. Like a fine beer or a wonderful cup of coffee. Like, when you first have it, it might seem a little bitter, but as you learn to enjoy the finer points in life, you realize that it's delicious. And so I think maybe that's what it is. Maybe people need time to understand your greatness because you're an acquired taste. I think that's a possibility.
Well, what about Victor, though, Chan? I mean, Victor's a likable guy all the way down the line, and that guy just sort of cut him off. And, we were the only two people that called that. And I think everybody else was scared to death to call, because he would rather hear himself talk about, what's his face, LaMelo Ball and all this stuff that nobody around here cares about. But anyway, enough on that. So, Chan, I wanted to mention, you and I share good tips with each other, right?
Yes.
Like, hey, try this food or try that music, and we have good taste, both of us do.
Yes.
So I haven't listened much to it, but I wanted to mention that one satellite deal there has the it's Spring Road Trip Radio Mixtape. They have a station there.
Spring Road Trip Radio Mixtape.
Yeah, and I guess you can just look it up as Road Trip on there, and it's currently it's Spring Radio Road Trip Mixtape, and that sounded like, from what the description was, it sounds like something you would really appreciate on a good level. So you can check it out and see. Now, this one I have tried, Chan. This is right down your alley too. Have you ever had the turkey sandwich at Costco? Where people get those hot dogs. You don't know what they're made of. They have a turkey sandwich there too. Have you ever had that?
I have not. No. How much is it? What do they charge for the turkey sandwich? Out of curiosity.
It's $3.99.
That's it.
Yeah, $3.99, and it's pretty tall. You have to, one of those deals, you have to press it down and open as wide as you can.
Yeah, I understand.
And it's got turkey breast in there, and it was a nice, fresh piece of whatever kind of lettuce. I don't know what it is. Comes off and it's shaped like a pyramid, that kind of lettuce, and it was very, very good. So the turkey sandwich at Costco, Chan, try that. And then you can probably find pictures of it. I think it might be new, because maybe I just don't pay attention, but it's something that is very good. And
hey, wait a second. I talked to you in passing a couple of weeks ago. You went to the concert Down in Salem, was it Brian Culberson? Who'd you go see down in Salem?
Yeah, I saw Brian Culbertson, who's a smooth jazz guy, plays piano.
Yeah,
He's very
he's
entertaining,
awesome.
and and he played the piano backwards. He played it from the front on one song, and his band is let me just put it this way, Chan. He's the only white guy in his band, so you can kind of figure out what they're all about, right?
Yes.
A lot of funk, a lot of kind of soul and jazz and smooth jazz and all that, and they're really, really good. And here's the thing, Chan, that I was just shocked by this. I got the VIP tickets because I got on early and I paid for them, and I was in the second row, right in the middle. And part of the VIP tickets is you go to you go in there early and you do a meet and greet with him, and he was 5 feet from me, Chan, and he sat there and answered anybody's questions for about 45 minutes. There were probably 20 of us in there, and he answered everybody's questions. You get a signed poster, and some of the questions were very insightful. Some of them were a little harder, but he was just very genuine and real. And this guy has like 25 albums out. And I think he has had multiple Grammy nominations, and the music was fantastic. And this guy was such a down to earth, cool dude, and I was just totally impressed by him, his music, the band, the whole thing. It was at the Elsinore Theater in Salem, which is a nice kind of old theater that Paul Allen. He's a kid who used to own the Blazers. You may have heard of him, Chan. His company donated a bunch of money to have it, one of many, but he was up towards the top as far as donations to have that thing remodeled. And that's a very typical Paul Allen thing, that he's put a lot of money in it to restore theaters. He's done that in Seattle too. So anyway, that was a very, very good concert. And here's the funny part, Chan. Listen to this. First question out of the rattle when somebody said to him, in the VIP area, they said, "Why are you having this concert here and not in Portland?" And he's like, there's a story behind that." And I perked up and I said, "Is that because you want to go away alive?" And he chuckled and laughed, and other people said, "Is it because you don't want your tour bus painted with graffiti and naughty words?" And he laughed. Or is it because you don't want to have 5 flat tires on your? Yeah, the whole thing, Chan. He just kind of picked up, and I think he's not from around here. He's from Chicago, so he knows what it's like. And he talked about how much of a dump Chicago is too. So he wasn't picking on just Portland, but it was a great show, Chan. So if you ever get to see Brian Culbertson, do that. And I have one final question for you here, Chan. This Eagles, this long goodbye tour, whatever they're doing now.
Yes.
And I give them credit for naming it what seems to be accurate. Instead of letting the rumor mill, this could be the last one. They're saying this is it. Well, who knows? They'll come back. Are you going to go to any of these shows, Chan?
Yes, I'm waiting for them to schedule for the Sphere in Las Vegas, and when they get that done, the reports are they've got the deal done, and once they release the dates, I'm going to go check them out at the Sphere, that new state-of-the-art concert venue that they have, which is going to be pretty cool. Well, now,
I was invited to I think it was U2 or something down there, right?
Yes.
And I couldn't go. I had business, and I won't mention any names, but somebody famous who I know went to it, and they said it was terrible. The sound was awful.
What? That's the exact opposite
said.
of what I've heard.
Well, before the show, I heard great things like, you got to go to this. You're Alf, you want to, and I mean, they were telling me and willing to pay, they paid for the tickets and the whole thing, and it's one of my big suppliers, and they know famous, the whole deal, Chan, that I'm used to. And they came back and said it was awful.
Well,
So
it's one of those things
maybe
where
it was just a bad operator that night.
I guess it's one of those things where I will go and I will determine for myself if it's great or if it's awful. So that's the way that's
you're an
gonna be.
Eagles connoisseur, so you go there, and I'm sure that that you'll see now. They're having Steely Dan open for them, right?
Right now, yes. Steely Dan's opening, and then the Eagles go out and finish out the show.
All right. Well, that's not a bad deal. So. Anyway, Chan, I wanted to give you that recommendation. Now, go to the Costco and get the $3.99 turkey sandwich when you get a chance, and hope you enjoy it. And when you're going on your way there, you can listen to the Road Trip Radio Spring Mixtape, and you tell me if it's any good. I've not heard it, but it sounded like it. I heard it and somebody describe it, and I said, that's Chan. Chan will like that right there.
All right, I'll give it a check, man. That sounds like good music. I appreciate it. Good looking out, Ralphie. Good looking out.
All right, you have a good-looking evening now, okay, Chan? And happy Easter to you and your family, okay?
You too, my friend. There's Ralph the landscaper, East Amity. Let's go out to the Preacher. Hey, Preacher, what's up, man? Long time no chat. What's going on?
Hey, man, I apologize, man. Trying to make things work out here in the boonies is tough. So, with AM radio, which I'm a huge, how do you say, connoisseur, going all the way out here and realizing where it bounces and at what times, it's been a struggle. So I'm actually seeing you for the first time on this chat doing fifth quarter call-in thing on YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube. You like the stream? What do you think about that?
Well, yeah, I like it. Let me say this. You know what? I like it. I mean, I think you need some more ambiance. I think you need some neon lights or some.
Oh, that's coming. We're going to get there. Yeah, I agree. This is most radio studios are not the prettiest things in the world, but we will get some decoration, and we're going to have some neon lights. So we'll have definitely more ambiance. I need. Yeah, I agree. I want you to feel. I like mood lighting. I like mood lighting.
Yes. Right. You know what? I was in the fraternity forever, and these guys would throw parties left and right. I'm like, dude, how are you going to get anyone over here if there's no lighting and music,
Well,
they're just doing it in white lights.
Well, I'm going to try. Hold on for a second. I'm just going to try. I'm going to go turn out the lights real quick. Hold on.
Yeah, let's see it. And you know what? What about the wardrobe? I was going like.
All right, I just turned the lights out in the studio, Preacher. So now we have all we got is the spotlight. So now we got mood setting here, fifth quarter after dark. So there you go. It's just me sitting in a dark room right now. How's that look?
I think I don't know. I think we can work with it.
All right. See?
What do you think?
I don't know. Let me. I gotta pull it up and check it out. But I think we're onto something here. Yeah.
We're onto something,
There we go.
And in closing, since we lost by 60, there's no right or wrong answer with this. What about being a Johnny Cash or Roy Orbison and just dressing in black?
Oh, dude, I love Roy Orbison. I love Roy Orbison.
But what if you dress in total black,
That's not a bad idea.
Total black.
Who are the guys that did that? So Roy Orbison would do black, and then Johnny Cash. There's been a few performers over time to go all black. Yeah.
Yeah. I think that would be easy on the wardrobe, and it would transition into the coloring in the background a little bit. There's a little sheen on that Blazer Nation, but man, I can't wait till we start getting into the finals because this is gonna blow up, man. You're gonna be in like Vegas in no time.
Oh, dude, you're the man. Give Holly my best, Preacher.
Yep, she loves you. Love you. Bye.
All right, there you go. There's my man, Preacher. I just saw this stat. It's not a good stat. Nothing is when you lose by 60. But Scoot Henderson was minus 58 tonight, plus minus. That is the worst plus minus in the history of the NBA, and he now has. Two of the top three worst plus minuses in NBA history. I'm looking at the screen right now. I think the Preacher's onto something. Mood lighting's not so bad. Not so bad. There we go. Just me alone in the dark right now trying to figure things out. After the Heat topped the Trailblazers 142 to 82. Let's step into the coach's corner and hear from Coach Billups. All right, let's check in with Coach Bill as following the Blazers' 60-point loss to the Heat.
Yeah, I mean, obviously it was just a really rough game for us. It was unfortunate because I thought the first 4 or 5 minutes, we started the game off just playing really clean. And it didn't last long. I mean, it happened pretty quick where we couldn't score, we couldn't get in the paint. I mean, we try to make a point always of getting the ball to the paint, collapsing defenses, and then, create the chase is what I call it. And their defense, they got physical, and we couldn't get to the paint. And we just kind of settled. We turned it over. And then we had a lot of what I call shooting turnovers, which are just horrible shots that might as well be a turnover. And everything just kind of all went bad at the same time, and it was just a rough one. It was a rough one for everybody.
Coach, what do you think about DeAndre's play tonight in his first game back in 4 or 5 games?
Yeah, well, we was happy to have him. We was happy to have him. DA was his normal, efficient self. He's very efficient, and he was good on the glass, too. I'm pretty sure he felt good just kind of getting back out there after, being down for a while. But, yeah, I thought he did the best that he could, There was not much positive that happened in this game today at all.
And I guess, too, just after the first 3 games of this trip, how do you feel about it so far, and kind of what do you need to do to kind of maybe get it going in the right direction?
Yeah, I mean, there's a couple games that we played pretty good in. This one obviously is not one of them, but we'll talk and look and see what happened in the game, even though I already know what happened in the game. And we'll watch this one away, and move on to the next one, because we got some tough opponents left on this trip. Good.
All right, the 2 keys to the game that I had earlier, I wanted to see the Blazers cut down on turnovers. They had 19 in the loss to Atlanta on Wednesday. Tonight, 24, leading to 36 points for the Heat. That's awful. And I wanted to see the assist numbers similar to what we had. I set the mark at 30. They had 35 on 43 made field goals Wednesday. Tonight, just 20 assists. They shot 40%, and they were just 5 of 30 from downtown. And they were outscored 78-44 between the second and third quarters combined. And there you have it, game over. All right, that's going to do it for me. Big thanks to Michael Shacker. I appreciate you all joining me on 620 Rip City Radio and the YouTube chat. Enjoy your weekend and your Resurrection Sunday. I'll be back on Monday. Early tip-off, Trailblazers and Magic. Game day at 1:30, tip-off at 4. It's all going to be right here on your home of the Blazers, 620 Rip City Radio. And we've got sunshine coming this weekend. Enjoy it, my friends.